I'm Bill Snodgrass, and in this video we're going to talk about shooting basketball pictures. How to get the most out of your camera and how to get the most out of the basketball game in order to get quality basketball pictures. When you set out to shoot basketball pictures, first thing to keep in mind is that it is a sport, and it's an indoor sport at that. So getting the shutter speed and getting the lighting right is going to be your biggest challenge. The first thing that you're going to want to do is to put your camera on shutter speed priority. Shutter speed priority, because you're going to want to set your shutter speed and not let it go down below a point where you can freeze the action. Now my experience with basketball arenas, basketball gymnasiums, is that you can probably get around 1,000 if you can get a decent ISO up to the 6400 or 12800 range. If you can get up to 6400 or 12800, you have to know your camera a little bit to know when is it going to start artifacting, when is it going to start creating noise and that high ISO distortion. So you need to know your camera and then be able to operate from there. Obviously, once you set your shutter speed, then it's going to select the aperture for you. Now, aperture now brings in the lens. What type of lens should you be using? Basketball's played on a 90-foot court, so there is times that the players are going to be a good distance away from you. I recommend a telephoto lens, telephoto zoom lens, so that you can change the composition as the play goes on. You're going to definitely want a lens that has some kind of an image stabilization feature. The image stabilization in the lens is going to reduce the blurriness, even if you shake the camera a little bit. This is a 55-250 EFS. That's the crop sensor configuration, and this will cover the basketball court really, really well. Another very popular lens is a 70-300 or a 75-300, but the 75-300 that Canon makes does not have image stabilization, so that is a consideration. Once you put the lens on the camera, then you're going to be ready to take pictures. I always put the shade on it. Someone asked me one time, they said, "Why do you always put that on?" And they were doing this. They go, "Why do you always put that on your camera?" My answer was, because when you do this, it keeps you from touching the lens, the glass. And also, you're moving around, banging. There are also the lights coming in from above. In the gym, because I've shot a lot of volleyball in the gym, I know I can go in there with 12800 and set my shutter speed around 1,000 and get good outcome. Now, sometimes it will give you the flashing aperture warning that says you don't have enough light. Probably you have enough light. It's just not optimal light. So if you're getting that flash continuously and then some parts of the floor you don't get it, then you've probably got enough light everywhere. Getting your ISO up to a range where you know it's going to be clear, good pictures, and having a good image stabilization lens. That's pretty much it for the camera setups. The other thing that you're going to want to consider is the focus point, and this is going to go into the composition, the concept of composition. On a camera with adjustable focus points, I always just pick one of the points, and for basketball, I tend to the middle. I tend to the middle in basketball composition, and if not dead in the middle, then the center and one down. I'll sometimes use this configuration. This camera has a 9-point focusing. The 77D has a 48-point focusing, so it gives me a little more selectiveness in where I put that focus. The reason I'm going to put it in the center, and I usually am thinking basketball horizontally. I'm usually shooting basketball horizontally because of the way the game plays. So the composition considerations in basketball are that the horizontal composition works pretty well for almost all of the action. Basketball is a game, I'm sure most people who are watching this video have seen a basketball game played at some point in their life. the ball is shot, let's just say, and then let's say the defense gets the rebound. The traditional success plan is to kick the ball out to the side of the court, advance the ball down, and then move towards the middle, and then the ball will move around side to side, left side, right side, left side. They're trying to work the ball in. They're trying to get a clear shot. Oftentimes the play will be set so that the action will move towards the basket. But we have a lot of action going sideways. The dribbler going sideways. The passes going sideways. A lot of the action is in a sort of a horizontal composition. And so following the action, you can pick up a little bit more of the action, a little bit more in a horizontal composition. Then, when would you use a vertical composition? If you isolate a player and you're going to try to get a picture of that player shooting a jump shot, then with the center dot focus, you can put it probably on his numbers, and as he goes up for that jump shot, you're going to have the focus centered on his numbers or her numbers, and the shot is going to release. So it'll pretty much all be in there. If you find that you're missing the actual release of the shot, then you want to either move your focus point up maybe towards the shoulders, or actually move it on your camera down the camera so that it's going towards the player's feet, and that will put more headroom when you put that back on his numbers. Using the focus dot and thinking ahead, what shot am I trying to get, is going to allow you to get really good compositions. What kind of shots can you expect to get that are going to be, the quintessential basketball shots? Players coming down the court, dribbling the ball. Players passing the ball. You'll have that chest pass or the bounce pass where the ball is going horizontally away. Rebounding. Maybe you want to shoot that in a vertical composition, but a lot of that is bounce oriented. You're not exactly sure which way the ball is going to bounce. So being horizontal, you may be able to catch both sides of the basket by focusing on the rim, and you can catch the rebounding on either side of the rim. So these are some things that you can do to sort of anticipate the shot. Basketball is easy to anticipate. Where the play is going to go, it's going to start at one end of the court, it's going to come to the other end of the court. Sometimes it'll go down the right side, sometimes it'll go down the left side. Very rarely do they go straight down the middle, but they will sometimes go middle-ish. And once they get across the half-court line, then there's going to be the play. The ball's going to move around from side to side, trying to get the defense out of position so that there's an easy, clear shot at the basket. The shot will go up. It will either go in or there'll be a rebound. That's how the game plays. So the game play is easy to anticipate. The surprise play is that they'll work the ball in and then kick it out to an outside shooter, and you will probably figure out who that outside shooter is if you just watch. The outside shooter a lot of times will drift backwards as the ball is going in towards the basket, and the players who are on that team will know that if things go bad towards the basket, they can kick the ball back out. And if the defense collapses too quickly, that will leave their outside shooter wide open. So as a photographer, you can identify who those outside shooters are. Now, some teams, a lot of people will bounce out. And if you're looking for that outside jump shot, you just need to maybe isolate. There's only 5 players on the team that you're shooting. So you can isolate one of those players and watch for them to bounce out, and maybe they'll get the pass. And those sorts of things will allow you to anticipate the shot that you're trying to get. It's a fun sport to shoot. It moves fast. The action is fast. But it's easy to anticipate where things are going to happen because the general wave towards the basket, surging towards the basket with the occasional kick out to the outside. Where should you position yourself as to shoot a basketball match? As a photographer, you're going to have some leverage to get into some places that the average attendee cannot go to. You can go probably down on the court. In high school basketball, as long as I can remember basketball games, which goes back into the 70s, the cheerleaders are usually on the end of the court, under the baskets. And this presents a little bit of a problem if you're trying to get the under the basket shot. You'll have to maybe negotiate that sometimes. They will be there. Maybe they'll all be on one side and you can go to the other side, or if you know the cheerleaders or something, you can mix yourself in with them. Sitting on the bottom rows of the stands and will give you an interesting angle, sort of a court eye view angle. You need to anticipate that you probably want player faces in the shot. So being at half court, you will not get a lot of player faces unless you're trying to shoot the defense, who will be facing the half court. If you're trying to shoot the offensive players, then you're going to want to be closer to the baseline so that you're looking into their faces. Other than that, the top of the arena will allow you some interesting, angles as well. Be creative, move around. If you sit in one place the whole game and take a whole bunch of shots, they're all going to end up looking the same. There's going to be guys and girls with balls, bouncing them and passing them and shooting them. If you move around and try different camera angles, just by repositioning yourself a little bit, you can bring some variety into your shooting. Let me quickly summarize what we've said. We want to start with a shutter priority, and we want that shutter speed to be 800, 1000 or higher if you can get it. Making sure that you don't overextend the camera's ability on the ISO so that you end up with a lot of bad quality pictures. So high shutter speed, high ISO, let it pick the aperture, whatever aperture you can get from that. Plan on a lot of the action being horizontal, so anticipate composition being horizontally, unless you're isolating someone who's going to be shooting a jump shot, or if you're trying to isolate someone going up for a rebound, in which case vertical may be a better composition for that. And then try different angles, different camera angles, so that you get not just the same shot over and over again. Hope this video was helpful. If it was, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, sign up for notifications. Besides the photography tutorials, I do a lot of life lesson and motivational videos, so check those out as well. That's all I have for this one. I will see you in the next one.